Hey y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel. I actually just finished filming my Kauai recap video for the first part of our honeymoon. So if you want to know what to do in Kauai or what our favorite go-to places are, feel free to check that out. But I am just gonna jump right into our Maui recap. We were in Kauai for a little over a week and then we flew over to Maui. It was a super short flight. It was really easy, but the differences between Kauai and Maui were insane. Maui still had mountains, but it was a lot more flat, more of a city. There were more bars and it was concrete. It was also less green on Maui, at least the places we were staying. And something that was really cool was that we were always driving by the water. In Kauai, you weren't on the water as much versus Maui. I feel like everywhere we were driving, you could see the ocean. But like in the Kauai video, I'm gonna split this up into different areas on the island that we went to. So the southwest Kihei, Wailea area, northwest Kaanapali, Lahaina area, and then the north side / road to Hana. Also made this disclaimer in my last video, but I apologize if I mispronounce any of these names. I know that I don't know them confidently, but I'm trying my best. So for the southwest, we actually stayed in Kihei and I loved it because it was so much different than any of the other places we stayed in Kauai. We could actually walk to the downtown area with the restaurants and the bars, which was really fun, and there was a lot more going on than when we were in Kauai. Also, this was probably the homiest of the places we stayed. It was the cutest little condo right across from the beach. It was so gorgeous, and the people that owned it left us a lot of amenities, and everything was just really purposeful. I would love to live here. So the two best beaches I would recommend in this area, first one is Wailea Beach. It is probably the prettiest beach I've ever been to, surrounded by all these luxury resorts. The sand is so soft, it's quiet. It really just feels like the perfect Hawaiian beach experience that you could ever imagine. But we weren't staying at any of the luxury resorts, so I didn't know if we would be able to experience it. There is a small parking area in between the Grand Wailea and the Four Seasons that you can go and park and have access. I also think I made a video while we were there, so I wouldn't forget, saying that it was the most fun beach while being safe. The next beach that I would highly recommend, but also be safe when you go, is called McKenna Beach or Big Beach. I think this place is also nicknamed Breakneck Beach or something like that. It's located in a state park, so you do have to pay to park there. After we parked, we took the path out to the water, and there really weren't that many people out there. It was so gorgeous, and you could see out the other islands in the water, but the waves were some of the biggest that I've ever seen. I might have a video of us after we got out of the water, but the waves were like 10 feet tall. Like I would have to jump with all my might to jump over the wave. Otherwise, I had to start learning how to dive into the waves when they came so that I wouldn't get thrown onto the beach. It was really fun though, so as long as you're cautious, I would recommend going, but maybe not safe for really small kids. Josh saw a bunch of dolphins. I missed them. I don't know what I was looking at, but he saw dolphins in the distance. Also, when we were jumping into the waves, I saw a sea turtle. It literally felt like a Finding Nemo moment where the wave was breaking and the turtle was like riding the wave, and I was afraid because I really had to jump in and I thought I was gonna touch the turtle, but I didn't. To see a sea turtle up that close while I'm swimming was probably one of the most insane moments. For the Southwest food and coffee, so first of all, I would highly recommend this place called Lava Java Coffee. One of the best chai lattes I had. I loved it so much. Just this small coffee shop in the downtown Kihei area. I think we went a couple times, but everyone there was so nice and it was really good. Another place that was really popular was Kihei Cafe. Insanely crowded. It was just a short walk from our condo to the downtown area, but the line was so long. I think we waited almost 30 minutes, maybe a little more, just to get to the inside counter where you would order, and then they would sit you down. Also, we had to pay with Venmo for some reason when we went, so be careful that you may need cash or Venmo. But once we sat down, the food was really good. Probably the best pancakes I've ever had. I think they were like chocolate chip and banana. So yummy, and my favorite part. We also went to this really good breakfast place called Cinnamon Roll Place. We just picked it up and brought it back to the condo. The breakfast sandwich bagels were so yummy, and the cinnamon roll was incredible. Did not think I would get cinnamon rolls when I was in Hawaii, but if you have a craving, definitely go to that place. If you are looking for the best food truck of your life, I would highly recommend the Kina Ole Grill food truck. I think we went there 3 times times when we were in Maui. The best fried calamari I've ever had. The dynamite sauce that comes on top is incredible. Their fish was good. The salad and rice were amazing. Everything on the menu was incredible. Would highly recommend. Also, the people that worked there were so nice and would give us free samples. Like, you have to go to this food truck. If you're looking for a brewery to go to in Maui, we went to this place called Maui Brewing Company. It was just so pretty with all these lights outside. They had live music. They also had these really cool placeholders that I've never seen anything like them before. It was just like a crowler of beer to claim your table, and also had instructions on how to order and do everything, especially in COVID time. The beer was really tasty. I think we just got like pizza and french fries and things like that. It was really nice and just like a relaxing environment. If you're looking for some really good fish in the downtown Kihei area, would highly recommend the Paia Fish Market in the South Side location. It was really good, but the lines were so long. We went at like 8 p.m. I don't know why it was still so crowded, but we ended up being the last people in line. Like, they cut everyone off after us. The portions were huge. The tacos were amazing. Again, everyone there was so nice. Would highly recommend. Another good dinner place in downtown Kihei that we went to was Three's Bar and Grill. It was a very cute atmosphere, amazing sushi. I was on a big sushi kick after going to the dolphin restaurant that I talked about in my Kauai video. Got like a fish burger that was really good, and I also really liked the cocktails. I think those were my favorite part other than the sushi. The shave ice in Hawaii is unparalleled. My favorite place on the island here in Maui was Ululani's Hawaiian Shave Ice. I think there are multiple locations on Maui, but we went to the Kihei one. I felt like the ice here was better than the one in Kauai, but I don't know, because I feel like the flavor that I chose in the Kauai one was better. Just the ice cream and everything was incredible. Cannot describe it. You have to try it. This was probably my favorite Hawaii shave ice that we went to in Maui. So moving to the northwest Ka'anapali, Lahaina area, here was our one hotel experience. So everywhere that we stayed in Hawaii, we stayed in 4 different places. This was our one place that we stayed that was a hotel and a resort, so it was a little different than how we experienced the rest of the island. It was so expensive to everywhere else we stayed. I think those 2 nights in the hotel probably cost more than each individual place that we stayed for many more nights, but it was also so convenient. There were incredible views. Our view from our hotel room alone was the best view we ever had. Just having the water right at your doorstep. Well, I don't know. Our Honolulu one was also really good. There were also lots of fun things to do in the area. You have convenient access to pools and the bars on the resort instead of having to go and drive to places, which is really nice and also really safe that you're not risking going out and drinking. So it was expensive because everything was on site, but it was nice because we had been traveling for those 2+ weeks, and it was a good couple days to relax and not have to worry about planning any trips. So if you're gonna do the hotel thing, I would recommend doing it at the very end of your trip. Probably the #1 excursion I would recommend in the entire trip we took was our surf lessons in Lahaina. That was probably my favorite thing that we did. It was the most gorgeous views up the coastline to get there, and we didn't meet on a super crowded beach, but it was just a mile marker spot up the coast, and it was super private. We signed up through this company called Rivers to the Sea Surf Lessons, and Eric was our guide. He was absolutely amazing. They gave us shirts and shoes and a surfboard, and we ended up doing the semi-private lesson, so it was just Josh and I out there, and it was probably one of the coolest experiences of my life. It was really hard to learn at first, like learning how to get up on the board as it's moving, but once you were able to pick that up after going a few times, it was really fun. I think we were out there for like an hour and a half, something like that. Also, they had someone else who worked there taking your pictures while you're out there, so you don't have to worry about bringing any cameras or anything, so you can pay a little more and get all of those pictures. Also, I'd recommend, if you have long hair, to put it in braids or something that it will not come undone, because you get smoked in those waves sometimes. Like, you will fall off the board completely. So I was glad that I had my hair just tight so that it wouldn't come undone, because the last thing you want to do is try and fix your hair in the water. The other excursion I would recommend on the northwest side is snorkeling and cliff jumping at Black Rock Beach. So there was a snorkel rental right off the beach in a huge area where people would snorkel throughout the day. The fish were really cool to see by the rocks, so we were snorkeling around and seeing them over there. But the craziest thing that we saw was when we were coming back onto the beach, saw this huge sea turtle so close to us I could almost touch it. I don't have any pictures or anything because I didn't take my phone out in the water, but that was probably the coolest thing we saw when we were snorkeling. Also, be careful. Again, long hair in the water is never good. I think I got my hair tangled in my snorkel, so probably put your hair in a braid or something so that you don't have a big old knot. For the cliff jumping, so we did not actually jump off the cliffs, but there were people there all day just jumping off the rocks. It was cool to watch everyone like encouraging each other and jumping. I did not want to risk it, but good for them. There's also an official cliff diving ceremony ceremony that's performed each evening, but during the day, anyone is free to jump from the rocks. For the Northwest food, right in that same area is the Cliff Dive Grill. If you're just looking for some beachside food, this is the perfect spot. They have amazing fish tacos and cocktails, and I think we did go for dinner one night and they had great fish and steak, and I also really loved that they had live music and dancing. If you're looking for probably one of the best restaurants to eat at in your life, I would highly recommend Star Noodle. It was probably one of my favorite restaurants in the entire trip. Everything that we had was amazing. The cocktails were good. The food was good. You had to make a reservation, and we somehow got lucky that even though they didn't have any reservations available, we called and they were able to squeeze us in. It was so pretty with all the fire and the lights, and their cocktails were some of the best I've ever had. And I love their neon sign. I kind of want a yellow neon sign in our future house because it was just so cute. The pork buns were beyond this world. I can't even describe how yummy everything was. You just have to go. I would go back just to Maui for this restaurant. For the north side / road to Hana activities, so we didn't stay anywhere up here, but we did take a day trip to do the road to Hana. We ended up downloading this driving guide, which would tell us which mile markers to stop at. We didn't do the full loop because apparently after the falls, it gets a little rough, like it's an unpaved road. But everything that we did up to that point was so beautiful and amazing. I will caution that it says that the roads are really windy. Just be careful if you do get car sick. For the road to Hana, for our activities, we actually drove the whole thing listening to the guide and only stopped once before the falls. That way we could do the hike and see the waterfall while it wasn't that busy and take our time coming back. Before the hike, we stopped at the Black Sand Beach because we had a reservation in the morning, which is the way to do it. So you pick a time slot, and I think ours was before 10 a.m., which was perfect because there weren't really that many people there. It was so pretty. We just walked around the beach, hike up the side a little bit, walked across the water, just seeing the beach from so many different vantage points. It was really cool to see the contrast of the black sand against the blue water and the green surroundings. I would have loved to spend more time there if we could have, to actually chill on the beach, but we got there at the end of our reservation. Then we got back on the road for the Waimoku Falls, which is an actual real hike. I did not realize that. I thought we would just get out of the car and walk to see a waterfall and head back. No. I think it was 4 miles round trip. It took us like 2 to 3 hours. And the beginning, there is a lot of elevation, but it is completely worth it. It's not easy, but there are plenty of places to rest. There are pretty views. There's this really cool tree that we actually sat at, both coming up and down the mountain. There are some fun bridges and a bamboo forest, which is probably the coolest thing other than the waterfall on this hike. The bamboo is so tall, which I never realized they grew that tall. And after a while, there's a platform that you can walk on, so that eases the hike a little bit. But once you actually get to the waterfall, it is insane. It just opens up and you see this 400-foot waterfall coming down. It is so pretty. You weren't allowed to go any closer to it. In the time right now, you weren't allowed to swim in the waterfall. We came all the way back down on the hike, which was a lot easier coming down. There was a section right after that hike where you could go see the 7 sacred pools. Again, we weren't allowed to swim in them, but it was really cool just to see them out there, and it was a nice little cool down from the hike we just did. So we spent so much time at the hike and everything that we didn't stop much on the way back other than to eat, which I'll talk about in the food section, and at the Three Bears waterfall, which we just pulled over to the side of the road, and it was really cool to see just these little waterfalls, but we didn't really do much other than just get out and look at them. We still had a bit of a drive to get back, and we didn't want to get back super late, so we continued on our journey. Also, there were these trees that looked like they had paint on them that I couldn't see on the way out because I was in the passenger side, so those are really cool to see. Other than that, the views were really incredible. The sunset was so pretty. I would highly recommend the road to Hana if you're going to Maui. And then finally, for the north side food, we didn't stop that many places, but the 2 places that we stopped at, you cannot miss. First one is called Better Things in Paia. That was at the beginning of our road to Hana trip where we got breakfast. It is the cutest coffee shop I've seen in all of Hawaii. It was so warm and welcoming. We got there as soon as it opened, and a few minutes later, it was flooded with people. So make sure you get there right when they open if you're trying to go on road to Hana. Their avocado toast was really good, and their chai latte was also pretty good as well. And the last food place that I would highly recommend, we stopped here after our hike to the waterfall, the Hana Maui Resort Restaurant. Everywhere that we saw online said you have to stop here. I'm not sure if the food was beyond amazing or if we were just super hungry, but either way, I was obsessed with this place. The views were incredible. The vibe of the restaurant was so pretty. I really just wanted all this furniture in my future home. It was so nice. I got the pineapple juice. It was amazing. Hummus plate was incredible. The shrimp pasta, and Josh got a burger, and everything was just so good. You have to come here if you are passing through Hana. it was some of the best food that we had. And that concludes our 2-week trip to Hawaii. If y'all want to check out the Kauai portion, please feel free to do so. I really recommend a lot of those places as well. We had the best time across both islands, spending over 2 weeks there, and headed back home to Austin. So if y'all have any more questions on places to stay in Maui or places to go visit, please feel free to comment them down below, and I hope I can answer your questions. Thank y'all so much for watching to the end of this video, and see y'all soon. Bye!